Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, let's talk about what's been happening in Atlanta and around the NFL as a whole. The offseason is always a period full of anticipation, speculations, and surprises. But this year, it feels like something different. The Atlanta Falcons, for all their efforts last season and their hopes for 2024, have been surprisingly quiet in the early hours of the NFL's legal tampering period. While other teams are out there making splash signings, locking in big-name free agents, and shaking up their rosters, Atlanta seems to be taking a more cautious, measured approach. And honestly, that has left many fans scratching their heads, wondering what the Falcons are planning behind the scenes. But here's the thing, sometimes silence can be strategic. Sometimes it's about waiting for the right moment, the right deal. And if you look a little deeper, there are some interesting developments that could hint at what the Falcons are up to. For example, in the past few days, two notable NFL defensive linemen have been released by their teams, players who could very well be on Atlanta's radar. These aren't just random roster cuts. They're strategic moves by teams looking to shed salary cap space and perhaps find bargain talents that could fit perfectly into Atlanta's plans. Let's start with Larry Ogunjobi, a veteran defensive tackle who was released by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ogunjobi, now in his late 20s, has been a solid presence along the defensive line, especially in the AFC North. He's been around the block, playing for the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and Steelers himself. Over his NFL career, Ogunjobi has shown flashes of brilliance, especially in his peak years. In 2021, he had a standout season with the Bengals, recording 7 sacks, an impressive number for a defensive tackle. Last season, he managed to tally 41 combined tackles, including 5 tackles for loss, along with 7 quarterback hits and 5 sacks. Nothing groundbreaking, but enough to catch the eye of teams looking to bolster their trenches without breaking the bank. Now, adding Ogunjobi to the Falcons' roster could be a game-changer, especially considering their recent need to replace Grady Jarrett, who was released earlier this month to create salary cap space. Jarrett, a cornerstone of Atlanta's defense, was a key player for years, but the Falcons had to make tough decisions. Ogunjobi's experience, combined with his familiarity with the AFC North and his ability to play inside or as a versatile disruptor, makes him an intriguing target. In terms of style, Ogunjobi has a lot of what Atlanta needs: power up front, the ability to clog running lanes, and the potential to generate pressure from the interior. His past production, especially in the 2021 season, shows he can be a dominant force when healthy, and at his current price point, he could be a steal for the Falcons. Then there's Za'Darius Smith, a player with a more extensive resume and a reputation as one of the premier edge rushers in the NFL. Smith has been a consistent pass-rushing threat since entering the league, and he's 2 years older than Ogunjobi, but don't let that fool you. Smith has proven over his career that he still has plenty left in the tank. Last season, he posted 9 sacks, his second double-digit sack season in 3 years, and he was a dominant force on the edge for both the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. In fact, Smith's 2022 campaign with the Packers and Lions was particularly impressive, with 9 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 17 quarterback hits in just 17 games. The Lions acquired him at the trade deadline last year for a couple of draft picks, hoping to bolster their pass rush for a playoff push, but then decided to release Smith rather than pay his remaining cap hit of around $7 million for 2025. That's a clear indication that Detroit is recalibrating their roster, possibly focusing on younger players or different priorities. For the Falcons, though, Smith represents a perfect veteran presence, someone who can come in and immediately improve the pass rush, especially along the edges. His ability to rush the passer, combined with his experience and leadership, could be exactly what Atlanta needs to complement their young defensive ends and help them take a step forward in 2024. Now, it's important to understand the bigger picture here. The Falcons' defensive line has been a work in progress for quite some time. Last season, the team showed flashes of brilliance, especially with players like Grady Jarrett, who's proven to be one of the league's top interior pass rushers, and young talents like Arnold Ebukti and Taquan Graham, who have shown potential but haven't yet fully broken out. The front office knows they need more consistent production and experience on the line to take the next step toward becoming a top-tier defense. And while the NFL draft is still a few months away, many fans and analysts expect Atlanta to focus heavily on the defensive line in the upcoming draft, especially in the first round, where they hold the 15th overall pick. The idea is to add a young, dynamic edge rusher who can develop into a franchise cornerstone. But seasoned veterans like Ogunjobi and Smith could be the perfect complementary pieces, players who can step in immediately, provide leadership, and help mentor the younger guys. The strategy here makes a lot of sense. You don't necessarily have to rely solely on rookies to fill the gaps. Bringing in a veteran or two with proven production can accelerate the team's development and provide stability during the transition. Plus, with the salary cap space available, the Falcons are in a good position to make these kinds of signings without jeopardizing their flexibility for other needs, whether that's upgrading the secondary, adding depth at linebacker, or even improving the offensive line. Of course, there's always an element of speculation at this point. Nothing is set in stone until these players officially sign, but the signs point toward Atlanta being smart and strategic in their approach. They're likely to target these bargain veterans, who offer high upside at a reasonable cost, rather than overspending on free agents who might not fit the team's long-term plan. This approach aligns with the Falcons' overall philosophy, building through the draft while supplementing with savvy free agent signings to create a balanced roster. Now, let's take a moment to talk about the bigger picture in the NFC South. This division has been a bit of a roller coaster in recent years, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, and Atlanta all vying for supremacy. The Bucs, after winning the Super Bowl in 2020, had their struggles last year, but they still have Tom Brady's departure to consider, which leaves a big question mark. The Saints are trying to rebound after a disappointing 2023 season, with new coaching staff and a revamped roster. The Panthers, with their young quarterback Bryce Young, are looking to take a big leap forward, but they're still in a rebuilding phase. And then there's Atlanta, which has been steadily building a roster that could finally break through and contend in 2024. The Falcons, under head coach Arthur Smith, showed a lot of promise last season, finishing with a solid record and demonstrating that their offense, led by quarterback Desmond Ridder, can be explosive when everything clicks. Their defense, although not perfect, has shown signs of becoming a formidable unit, especially if they can add depth and veteran leadership along the line. The NFL landscape is always changing, and divisions are won and lost in the trenches. The NFL's best teams are those that dominate the line of scrimmage, and Atlanta knows this all too well. That's why their focus on bolstering the defensive line, whether through free agency or the draft, makes perfect sense. Looking at the current roster, Atlanta's defensive line has potential, but it lacks the consistency and veteran presence to truly be feared by opposing offenses. Adding players like Ogunjobi and Smith could be the missing pieces that push the Falcons into that elite conversation. These signings would not only improve their immediate pass rush, but also set a tone for the team's identity: physical, relentless, and disciplined. As fans, we all want to see the Falcons make a splash, but sometimes the smartest moves are the quiet ones. The team's front office appears to be taking a cautious yet strategic approach, waiting for the right deals, the right players to come along. And honestly, that's what sustainable success is all about: building a roster that balances youth and veteran leadership, talent and experience, all while staying cap-conscious. The potential signings of Ogunjobi and Smith fit perfectly into that mold, and if they manage to bring both on board, the Falcons could be setting themselves up for a very exciting 2024 season. Now, it's worth mentioning that Atlanta's draft strategy will be crucial. They're likely to target a top-tier edge rusher early, perhaps even at number 15, aiming to find that game-changing player who can elevate the entire defense. But adding seasoned vets now gives them the flexibility to draft for depth and BPA, best player available, making sure they cover all their bases. It's a comprehensive approach that combines immediate impact with long-term development. And let's not forget the importance of the fan base in all of this. Falcons fans have been waiting patiently for that next big step, that breakthrough season where the team finally reasserts itself as a division powerhouse. The off-season moves, or the lack thereof in the initial stages, are just part of the process. The real action will come as free agency heats up, and the Falcons start making their moves to fill those key gaps. In the end, what we all want is to see our team return to the playoffs, to contend for division titles, and maybe even get back to the Super Bowl. The foundation is there, the coaching staff is committed, and now, with some smart signings and draft picks, the Falcons could be on the verge of something special. It's an exciting time to be a Falcons fan, and I know we're all eager to see how this offseason unfolds. So stay tuned, keep your hopes high, and keep supporting your team. The best is yet to come. Remember, in the NFL, the offseason is where champions are built, and Atlanta's story is still being written. Let's see what the future holds, but one thing is for sure, this team has the potential to surprise us all. They're working behind the scenes, making strategic moves that could elevate them from good to great. The NFC South better watch out because the Falcons are coming, and they're coming strong. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on these potential signings? Do you think Ogunjobi or Smith could be the missing pieces to push Atlanta into real contention? Or do you believe the team should focus more on building through the draft? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and, more importantly, to the Falcons. We're all in this together, and your voice helps shape the conversation. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and analysis on everything Atlanta Falcons. So make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for the latest news and insights. The offseason is a roller coaster, but with fans like you supporting the team and staying engaged, the future looks bright. Let's keep the Falcons' fire burning and see where this journey takes us. Thanks for being part of this community, and let's keep dreaming big. Until next time, go Falcons!